Hey everyone, today I got these two giant frying pans. See, they are pretty huge. We're gonna use these for over a fire. First I gotta wipe all this mud up, because these things were obviously in the forest, laying down a long time. Then I'm gonna let them bake in the sun, get them nice and dry. We're gonna go in here with a grinding wheel and a steel cup brush, get the insides really nice. Then we're going to paint it with oil. We're going to get it seasoned up so the inside looks like a brand new pan. The outside, I'm not going to do anything, because as you can see, the rust isn't even that bad on the outside. Plus, I plan on using these over a fireplace, so the flame was just going to destroy the seasoning on it anyways. If anyone's interested, I have an older video I'm going to link in my description of how you can do this easily at home with regular size frying pans. That came out perfect. I made them look brand new. This, we're just going to make the inside look brand new so we can cook food on it without having all the rust chips getting in the food. And here's the label on it. Some good products. Made in America. Alrighty. The other one over here is a tiny bit smaller, but still a really good fireplace pan. This one does not say who it was made by, but this one I love. It has that really long handle. If you can't tell how long that is, it's just over 2 feet long. Perfect, because at the end of it won't get super hot near the fire. Now this one here does not have any visible markings on it, but we may find some as I start grinding away, because sometimes it may be stamped and you can't really see that until you get all the rust cleaned up. Pretty cool pan. This one's a lot more heavy duty the way it's built, while the one over here, see, it's just bolted in like this, but they're still very strong pans. So the first step I gotta do is just get it cleaned up a little bit. Scoop all this dirt out of here, because this thing's been sitting around for a few years outside as a decoration. Doesn't have to be all out completely, just get it good enough so it can dry in the sun, and we'll use the grinder to get everything else off. Ooh, look at that. Where was that guy hiding? Got a slug. Yeah, there's a slug in there. Don't want to hurt that guy. Alright, the pans are nice and dry. I'm gonna go ahead and use this angle grinder, which comes from Harbor Freight. It's a great tool. This is the second one I've owned. The first one lasted 3 years before it finally burned out. Did a whole bunch of projects. First, I'm gonna start with a really tough steel brush. Then we'll go on to this finer one to finish up. We're not going to be using these, but these came in the kit. Those will be good for another project. Because there's going to be lots of rust dust, I'm going to wear a respirator, and things could be flying, so I'm going to use these ski goggles, just because those ones over there work horrible. Alright, the big pan will be fine for using over the fire, but this small one, as you can see, has a bunch of holes in it. It was used as a garden decoration for too long. So this one is going to be used in a garden again by me. Can't really do anything with it. It's rusted all the way through. The other one doesn't have rust going all the way through it. This is still pretty strong. Down here there's actually 2 holes. That's a shame, because it's not every day you see pans this big. Because this one here, I'm going to go ahead and spray this off with water. let it dry. Before any surface rust can form, I'm going to spray with oil, cooking oil. That's how you season the pans. And at least we'll be able to use one of them. This other one here, it's too far gone. Kind of sad. Look at this. The pan's huge, it floats. It's just like a sinking ship. Alright, we're gonna have to cut down a tree. This tree is completely dead. Look all the way up to the top. Completely dead. It'll be a great tree to have a giant fire tonight, to season the pan and then cook with it. First I gotta go up there and I gotta tie down a guide wire so we can pull it down. Alrighty, it's all set up to the tree. Okay, it comes into the cable, which is hooked up to the come along right here. You can go ahead and give it a little bit of tension. Just a little bit of tension. Now we're gonna go make a notch on the tree and a little slice on the back, but we're not gonna make it fall over with the notch. We're gonna pull it down the rest of the way when it's almost there. There was no trees in this direction, so we just put it around this telephone pole near the street. Just as strong, it won't cause any damage as long as it's put near the base. Alright everyone, don't make this mistake I made. This thing, I spent like an hour tinkering with it. Taking the engine apart, cleaning the air filter, cleaning the carburetor. It was none of that stuff. Because what was happening was, started the engine, started perfectly, idled nicely. Hit the throttle, chain doesn't move, it stalls. I dumped out the gasoline, put brand new gas, no problem. It was flammable enough to run the engine, but it didn't have enough power to run the chain, so it stalled. And I'm surprised. Owns only 5 months. I guess 5 months is too long to leave in a chainsaw. Put fresh gas, not a problem. And the old gas just burning off real quickly. Hi. Gonna have to pour it on a little thicker than I usually would to get it inside all the pitting. But the most reliable way to do seasoning on a cast iron pan is 2 or 3 really thin coats that won't crack off as easy as a thick coat. And it can be any kind of cooking oil. It can be olive oil, I'm using vegetable oil, canola oil, it all works. And as soon as this is put over a fire, you let the oil dry, and it leaves a nice dark layer of oil. And when you're using cast iron cookware, you never wash it with soap. You just rinse it off with water and a rag, because soap will break down this protective layer. And if you were doing this for indoor use, you would also do the outside, which I'm not bothering with because the fire will just wreck it. And usually you would put it inside an oven at like 350 degrees for an hour for each coat. That's how you'd season in a house, but obviously this is way too big to go in an oven. And this layer of oil will lock in any kind of iron or rust, especially with a second layer. It'll be ready to cook on. Now we got to get the fire going. Got a nice hot fire, doing the first coating of seasoning. This is gonna season really fast with that amount of heat. Wouldn't be surprised if the pan even started turning a tint of red, which if it does, I'm gonna remove it because that'll wreck the temper. Okay, I've done this before in a conventional oven, and it usually takes about an hour per coat. This took about 10 minutes. You saw it's starting to turn nice and dark. Now 2 or 3 coats is the right thing, and this is definitely a good pan for the fire because the end of it is still freezing cold. You can easily take it out. Now I'm gonna go move it over here. This is probably too much heat, but it's okay. It's gonna be a fire pan. The seasoning's not done perfectly with that kind of extreme heat, but I have no oven that this thing would ever fit in. Okay, doing the second round of seasoning. Seasoning definitely does work faster with this intense heat, but it's not a quality seasoning, and it's also not even like you do in an oven. There's definitely a reason you do it in an oven for an hour at 350. A lower temperature does it more uniformly, but it's okay. This is going to be for fire use. I have it sitting on top of a grate, and underneath there, you see that glowing bar I pounded into the ground to hold up the grate? That's the same bar the border control guy picked up and looked for blood on each end. Found that on the side of the road that day, and I had it in the front seat. Really hot, and you can see it now without the flash. So greasy. Looks like a smiley face.